All right, here we go. Okay, everybody take a seat. We're starting. All right. I retired. We all ready? We all ready? Wow. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the celebration of Wade's final retirement. Finally. I would like you to raise your hands if you were with HP. There are a lot of HP people here, we know that. If you were here, if you were with HP for 0 to 5 years, raise your hand.
Or more?
No, 0 to 5. Just 0 to 5.
5 or less.
Oh,
5 or less.
How about 6 to 10?
To bring in both of the salaries.
6 to 10 years. Only Dan? Okay. 11 to 20 years. Jane, Jeff.
Babies,
Uzo.
babies.
21 to 30 years. Cian. I forget your name.
Tom.
Okay, Tom Lober.
Yep.
You raised your hand twice.
I
Okay.
thought you were
More than 30 years. Duffy, Joan. I forgot your name. Okay. I forgot your name.
Tom. Christoph.
Christoph.
Christoph's still counting.
Okay. And Duffy. I forget Duffy. That's a lot of years. Raise your hand if you've ever attended one of these type of roasts.
Yeah.
Okay. Quite a few.
Party on.
Raise your hand if you were the roastee. Duffy. You were a roastee.
Made such an impact on this.
So just me, you, and Duffy, and Wade's the fourth in this group. All right. By our best guess, we think there have been about a dozen of these roasts, all of which were emceed by Tom, the Dean Martin of Hewlett Packard. And we're pretty sure, Tom said this afternoon, he's pretty sure that the first one was Hal Phillips, and it was kind of a roast. It was a roast, but he went from one department to another.
Yeah,
with HP. But that was the first one. That was like in 1980.
we found excuses back then.
That was around 1980. So there've been roughly a dozen since then. Tom set the bar. He set it very high. He's always emceed. There was never any doubt that he would MC any of these roasts. So he's been the man every time. Most recent one, Duffy, how long ago was your roast? A couple of years? 2 years ago?
4 years.
Right. Duffy's was the most recent. Mine was like an 88. Lover, when was yours?
I had several, I think.
Cheater.
80s, 90s, 2000s.
You had a few. Okay.
Target-rich environment.
One more, you get a free sandwich.
Today is most likely the last roast that will happen. The roasts were really they came to be with people from the era I'll say like 80s, early 90s ish, pretty much. So inarguably this is probably the last one, and that's pretty significant. That's and it's a very poignant milestone. So Janet, my wife, and I last night just saw the last episode of Ted Lasso. So in the spirit of Ted Lasso, I might get a little sappy about this, but you know, what can I say? I'm influenced by TV. So as I planned this, there were two things that were of import, of note to me as I was doing it. One, I realized I started with HP in '84, Wade in '85. We didn't really work that much together, from what I can remember. I don't know if we
Or
went
at
to
all.
any of the same
Didn't
trade
work.
shows
Not at all.
even.
You guys didn't work back then, did you?
You know, I left in '88. He stuck around for a couple more years. I worked for another 9 companies. Wade stayed with the one. He got married. I got married. He had kids. I had kids. My kids did soccer and lacrosse. His kids did softball and golf. You know, we didn't hang around. We were like, and so I'm wondering why am I here? Why am I here? I don't know either. But that's one thing that dawned. The other thing that dawned on me was that I think this celebration, it's certainly about Wade, but it's also about all of us who've worked at HP. I've told people through the myriad jobs I've had in select audiences how wonderful my short experience was with HP. Great products, the technology, but absolutely most importantly, just wonderful people, good people, smart people. And I think that the fact that we've been able to gather like this again after so many years is really remarkable. And I hope people appreciate that, because I do. I certainly do. I think sometimes you have to leave a good thing to appreciate the good thing that you had, you know, and I definitely do. So I just wanted to share that with you. I'm very proud and happy to call so many of you my friends, my former work colleagues, and that really means a lot to me. And I think everybody, I hope everybody kind of feels the same. So anyway, that being said, let's get on with it. I'm going to hand this over to Tom to MC this wonderful event. Go for it.
Good day, Paul.
So first and foremost, we got to thank Paul and Janet for throwing a great party. And it was a great party. I was having a real good time until Janet asked me if I was nervous.
I didn't, I swear. I didn't.
So this is a retirement party for Wade, as you've heard, and Wade's retiring as part of a workforce reduction program. So, you know, he calls it, you know, retirement. It's workforce reduction. In other words, they paid him a year's salary to leave. So when, as soon as Wade announced his retirement, Paul was like, we gotta have a roast for Wade, and you know. So, but I wouldn't call it a roast because Wade's a vegetarian. So I'm going to call it a boil. But Paul asked me to MC because, you know, like he said, I've done it a few times, but I felt really nervous because first of all, it's been a long time since I've done this. You know, I might be rusty and couldn't get anybody to help me because there's a writer's strike. But the biggest reason was Wade would be hard to roast. He's straight-laced, uncontroversial, no quirks. He's a nice guy. I'm thinking like, what the hell? How am I gonna roast him? So I thought about it and I said, I'll just make shit up. So I felt obliged to do it since you know, when I did do this a lot, people would come up to me and say, "You were born to do this," and I'd think, I wish I was born to do something that would make money. One guy even came up to me and said, "You know what? You should do this for a living." Unfortunately, it was my boss. So here we are, boiling the recent HP legend, Wade Mears. And you know, I'm getting old, I have to look at notes. But Wade has been a good friend of mine until about 2 years ago. And why why do I say that? Because, well, he started, anytime I didn't know some of his obscure trivia, he would say I was senile. God, I don't know where I was going with that.
Did I say that out loud?
Trivia shame.
Well, sometimes you also call me an idiot. That hurts.
But affectionately.
She fits.
So, anyway, he'd berate me because I didn't know some statistics, some esoteric statistics. Him and I and Paul get together a lot and watch sports. So if I didn't know some statistic that he knew, I was senile or an idiot. So like, I'd say, oh, we were watching the Chiefs versus Rams a couple years ago. I go, I wonder if this is the highest score ever. You idiot! Don't you know? Don't you know in 1916 when the Chicago Staleys played the Akron Tire Treaders, they scored 102 points? I'd say, no, I didn't know that. So, but we'd go, and I'm not saying he's analytical. But, you know, watching baseball, I said, God, what a catch. And he'd go, well, the spin rate on that curveball was 4 revolutions a second, and the exit velocity is 107 miles an hour. And I'd say, what a good catch. But I lost my train of thought again. No. So we'd go see a Padre game a couple times together. And I don't know how many you've been to a Padre game. It's a beautiful stadium, and you walk in and people are picnicking and kids are playing wiffle ball and everybody's having fun. Then you walk into the stadium and kids are carrying in a program and a baseball glove, and adults are carrying popcorn or, you know, whatever they're carrying. Wade brings a radar gun. Anyway, I wanted to, you know, I left HP a long time ago, so I don't really know much about what Wade did, or, you know, not a lot about who he worked with. So I interviewed 25 of the people that are closest to him, the people that worked most closely with him. And you can see the results here. Out of those 25, 4% of them said he would be sorely missed. 8% said somewhat missed. 40% said no difference. 32% said, I didn't know he worked here. And 16% said they never met him. But it was good. It's good to interviewing these people because I found out a lot about him and his work ethics.
There was this other group that said it's about time.
Now the one guy who said he was sorely missed is the guy that's taking over his duties. And he said he didn't take too kindly the fact that he had to work an extra half hour a day.
He's rounding up.
So, and also in talking to some of his workmates, they were saying how a really suspicious thing happened. About, what was it, April 22nd or 23rd? He said a whole bunch of secret documents were stolen. Wade left the 20th of April.
I have clothes in those boxes.
Anyway, I talked to some of you, but I don't know who wants to get up here and say something, so.
Oh, I got something. Right. Yes, I
Want
want
to go right away?
Are there other people that?
Yeah, there's a few more, Jim.
Okay. I thought Wade left in joined in 1985, So I thought it might be good to kind of get into the Wayback Machine and talk about what was going on in the world in 1985, just to kind of bring us all down to 1985 era. Reagan was president of the United States. The Dow closed at $1,546. It's now at 31,000 plus. Average income was $22,100. That was the average income in the country.
Wow, I didn't get that.
New car cost $9,005. I'm not sure what kind of a car that was, but gas was $1.09 a gallon. $1.09 a gallon. Coke introduced New Coke that year and realized their blunder and brought back Classic Coke 2 months later. So I don't know which.
It's been that long?
Yeah. In other weird marketing news, parachute pants and members-only jackets were the height of men's fashion.
Still are.
I'm not wearing them if that's why you're looking.
I owned one of those. You want to guess which one I owned? Not parachute pants. The first internet domain was registered that year, and it was www.xxx.porn.com. You're like, that's going to get traffic.
Still one of Wade's favorites.
Yep. Britain returned Hong Kong to China. The terms were 50-year extension on capitalism guaranteed, plus return shipping, of course. Windows 1.0 was launched that year. Followed immediately 4 nanoseconds later by Error 404. The top TV shows were Cheers and Family Ties. One of your favorites, Cheers and Family Ties. Blockbuster was founded. Pete Rose, this is in the Athletic. Do you want to guess what Pete Rose got that year?
You probably broke Ty Cobb's career record for hits.
4,292nd hit.
He married his first wife under the age of 12?
He was ABC Athlete of the Year. Followed 4 years later in 1989 when he was Chump of the Year, when he was banned for life for gambling from Major League Baseball. But that was a big year for him. Michael Jordan was Rookie of the Year. He was a rookie in 1985, rookie. Top songs were Like a Virgin and Money for Nothing. And the HP ThinkJet printer was 1 year old. Tids 1.0.
It paid a lot of our salaries.
It did. You want? I have a couple more. Do you want to bring someone else up and intersperse them?
No.
Just keep going.
It's up to you. You're
I'm
okay
gonna
with
roll.
that?
You're rolling.
you're
I can tell I got the audience in the palm. Okay. Now that Wade has retired, he can spend more time with leisure activities like going to Disneyland, for example. So we did some research. The Lober Research Center did some research, so we could find out how he can make the best use of his time when he goes to Disneyland. These are the top 10 least popular Disney rides, so you can avoid these. The top 10 least popular. Mike Pence's Hall of Animatronic Vice Presidents. GOP's Dark Ages Carousel of Progress, featuring the latest crossbow technology, bubonic plague anti-vaccine technology, bloodletting, and build the moat. The Mar-a-Lago Carousel of Lawyers. Not a fun ride. Buzz Lightyear's Jewish space laser tag. I thought these would get better laughs. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Government Gravy Train. Finding Nemo's Pet the Shark's Pool Encounter. Drain the Swamp Adventure. Marge's Cafe, featuring Gestapo soup and a seizure salad. President Ron DeSantis' Never Neverland Adventure. President Ron DeSantis' Never.
Yeah.
George Santos Drag Queen Review. DeSantis' Woke World. And George Santos / Anthony DeVolder, What's My Lie game show. All right. So don't go to those rides. They're no fun.
But the lines are short.
Yeah, the reasons are
Straight up.
short. There's the reasons are short.
Okay.
Not in Florida. Not in
Yeah.
Florida.
Top 10 signs you're getting old, Wade. Number 10. If you refer to an all-nighter when you don't need to get up at night to pee. Number 9. You feel terrible in the morning after having done nothing the night before. Number 8. You are cautioned to slow down by your doctor, not the police. Your assorted maladies live in harmony. The side effects of one offset the others. For example, much like a car with bad brakes that can't go over 30 miles per hour. That's how your body's operating. See, the brakes are not good, so the car can't go over. Number 6, your clear conscience is really a sign of a faulty memory. Number 5, the dull stare of a dairy cow has replaced your eye of the tiger. Number 4, your secrets are safe with your friends because they can't remember either.
That's what I'm counting on tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that too much.
It's on
Number
tape.
3, your lifelong investment in health insurance is finally paying off. Number 2, at the McDonald's drive-thru, the kid asks if you want Lipitor with your supersized meal. And the number 1 reason, top 10 reason you're getting old, one of your body parts tells the other parts, you think that was bad, watch this. I think I will, let's see. Why don't you bring some more people and I'll insert myself later. Okay.
Thank you, Bill. Something else happened in 1985. I could run. Now, let's see. I know Jim Edwards wants to say something. Are you next? Can you? I have a show of hands as people who want to come up here eventually. Don't break your arm. I got a light in my face. I can't see who it is.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I know you do.
Oh, okay.
You come up last, right?
Okay.
You're passing up this opportunity?
I guess Jim Edwards is up next.
Yeah.
Do I have to? I'm saving for the poker game.
Yeah.
For the poker game. Okay. Well, I think I'm dating myself, okay?
That's always fun.
Because I remember roasts and watching Dean Martin when I was much younger. And the dais got roasted too. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it?
who got
The
roasted?
dais.
The table?
Gotta talk a little louder.
Okay, I gotta talk louder. Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. Before I start in on the dais that I was expecting to see here tonight, I want to tell you the truth of something that happened to me on the drive down. I mean, I had to travel
From,
from Boise, Idaho.
right.
It's 1,100 miles. I did 700 the first day and 400 the last. And believe me, the 400 the last was a killer because of all the Californicators, as we call them up there, were on the road. The last time I came down to California, Gavin Newsom decided to open the state up and everybody could go out and party, right? There wasn't a friggin' hotel anywhere available. I drove 22 hours to get to Rancho Bernardo at 3 in the morning, okay, after saying goodbye to a friend of mine that was dying that I met in Southeast Asia, and it just drove me crazy, okay? Anyway, I'm gonna get to a point here. So I get down to Las Vegas. I'm getting there.
Let's bring it up a little bit.
Yeah. How's that? So it turns out I get to Las Vegas and I think, okay, you know, I made that gauntlet, okay? Now I've got a few more ahead of me. What am I gonna do? I got to Prim and I thought, wow, kidneys are functioning fine, everything's cool. All that food poisoning I had just 2 days ago, I'm still alive. I think I can make the rest of the trip. But I didn't want to call Paul in case I had to go back. Okay? There was no way, if I had other problems with the food poisoning, that was going to come down. But the body held up. Anyway, so I pull into one of my favorite places when I'm traveling because they have fairly clean restrooms. And that was at Prim at the McDonald's. I love to see all those Prius people there.
Yeah.
They seem to congregate, don't they? And I pull up, and my Infinity holds 20 gallons, and I can go over 500 miles. And I always wave at them as I'm going by, and I always smile at them. Okay? Why? Nothing wrong with the Tesla or whatever car. Okay, I'm envious. But if I gotta go somewhere, I want a dinosaur with a twin turbo. Okay? That's what it's all about, and it sounds like it. So I go to McDonald's, I do my duty, and I thought, well, I'll get a cup of coffee. I've been, holding out pretty well. And this is the truth. I get up there for a cup of coffee, and the guy goes, oh, that'll be blah, blah, blah. And so I reach in my pocket to get some change, okay? Because I don't like carrying too much change around. I got my wallet out. So I start going through this, okay? And as I'm going through it, I took this out too. You know what this is? Does anybody know what this is?
I haven't seen anything like that in a long time.
Are you the guy I talked to at the McDonald's? Seriously. I laid that down so I could get my stuff out, right? And he fixates on the 18, 19-year-old kid. He's looking at my comb. And he looks at that and he goes, is that what they call a comb? I said, what? He said, do you actually use that to comb your hair? And I thought, oh my God, AI is not as advanced as everybody thinks, okay? I said, absolutely. He said, how old is that? And I said, I bought that a month before I left for Vietnam.
Wow.
Okay? I bought it in 1967. And he looked at me and I thought, well, we better let the other people go. That just blew my mind. He didn't know what a comb was. And then I thought to myself, okay, I gotta tell my friends in Idaho, okay, that this AI is not as advanced, or they're pulling the wool over everybody's eyes. So I go outside. Now this is not the real part, okay? And I just called my buddies. I'm embellishing like Bill does a lot against, or not against, but about conservatives. You never guess what I am, okay? So anyway, I get up there, right, Bill?
Right. I have no idea
Yeah.
where you're going with this.
Well, we have a tendency to not worry about drive-bys or anything, because we're locked and loaded wherever we go, okay? We have no problems. But anyway, getting back to the point, I called up this friend of mine and I said, hey, I gotta tell you some information. I said, I really believe after what happened to me, that water is still gonna work to disable this new AI, okay? So, you can slow down the GBR, okay, or GRB. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that, it's gamma ray burst, okay? That it'll just destroy anything that it hits. So here we are working on this new device to take on the AI when it takes over the world. And I just said, hey, we can relax and take our time and do the right thing, because I just met one of them. And it's not gonna be a problem for a while, okay? So now I wanna get to the roast, right? But I had to share it with you, because I was almost in tears. So I drove up, I got out of Nevada, and I got to the California border, and there's a nice red stop up there. They've got all this historical stuff, things like, climate change back then. The funny thing about the Earth, there's always been climate change. I mean, you think about the Pleistocene age, the Eocene, you look at all those things and you say, these humanoids, they've got a problem, okay? And I just say, I'm not gonna worry about it because I'm gonna be dead, okay? But I get up there and
That's
I'm
the
still,
spirit.
it is. And as I'm standing there and I'm thinking about what happened to me at Prim, I look down and in the sidewalk they've got imprints of a tortoise and look like a pterodactyl. And I'm thinking, I'm in there somewhere according to that kid. And I thought there's a message there, okay? My days are numbered for a number of reasons, okay? But I've had a good life, all right, and I'm sure we all have to some degree. And it was nice meeting you, by the way, and telling our stories about Vietnam. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It brought back some memories of my friends and me. So anyway, let's get to the roast, okay? I just-
Here, here.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I know, I'm getting there, but things just sort of, as Wade will tell you, I get hooked up on some things sometimes, and it's hard to drop, but now that I've said it,
Called acid,
catharsis
right?
has taken over, and, right, I don't need to talk about it anymore. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about is like the old Dean Martin roasts. Now those were roasts where they were funny and you didn't have to use foul language, okay? It was amazing. How did they do that? How did Johnny Carson? I couldn't do it. So what I decided to do was that I did one thing, like the old roasts. You gotta start off with the dais, right?
Right.
Yeah.
First person on my list was Taisir Nasser Ode. I have known Taisir since the mid-70s. I knew his brother since the early 70s. And there was a funny story going on there.
You know, he's not here.
I know.
I don't know if you can see past
He
the-
knew.
This story I thought was worth telling about Taisir. So Taisir comes over. He stays with his brother at the Casitas Apartments. That's where they lived at the time. And what Salim did, his older brother, is that, hey, you are gonna learn to speak American English. So if you ask me a question, yeah, I'll listen in Arabic, but I'm answering you in American English. And that was forcing the issue. So what happened was he thought, I got a better idea. I'm gonna put my brother to work to interact with these Americans so he can pick up the language sooner, because that's the road to success. All right? I thought it was a great idea at the time. And after about a week, Taisir comes back from working. He was at a gas station, okay, pumping gas. Back then, the attendants pumped the gas. They checked the fluids. They checked the air. They did all of that back in those days. Do you guys remember that or not?
Yep.
No.
No, I don't remember.
Those were the good old days. They said, oh, that's how we keep your prices lower. You know. Anyway, it turns out that was for
No, never ours.
So here's what happened. Taisir came home and Salim said, so how did it go today? And Taisir used some expletives that he's really good at in Arabic, and I can't repeat them right now because somebody might speak Arabic besides me and be offended. But I can tell you that Taisir was really frustrated. So Salim asked him, he said, so what's wrong? What's wrong? He said, well, what does it mean when you're pumping gas to the Americans and they say, will you please check under the hood? And I thought, oh my God, for a week, people have been asking him to check under the hood. He never checked the oil. He never checked the tire pressure. He never checked the windshield fluid. All he did was pump gas, okay? And shake his head, yes. And he never checked under the hood. Can you imagine that? Where's Duffy? Is Duffy here?
Inside.
Inside.
He's
Oh,
inside.
that's too bad. Too bad.
He
Duffy-
doesn't know what under the hood
I'd
means
love to hear
either.
what Duffy would have to say about that. And speaking of Duffy, yeah, I had to mention that about Ty because I thought it was wonderful. I'm surprised that he doesn't speak English as well as he probably should, okay? But he is very eloquent with the Arabic words and the English expletives. They don't sound like us. When you hear them. It sounds almost like music when you hear them. All right, well, with Mike Duffy, I wanted to
Should we grab, why don't you grab Mike? and-
No, I don't want to embarrass him.
No, let's
That's embarrassing.
Just to make sure, Wade is supposed to be roasted here.
I know, but I've got my list and I'm checking
Are you
it
sure?
twice. I-
Hey, he drove 1,100 miles. He's begging everybody.
I've earned this. I've earned this.
Just go on right up.
There he is, all right.
He was invited
Pull
for
up.
Duffy's roast and he's just right
No. He drove
What we're
100
doing
miles for
is,
you.
I'm doing is I'm just bringing up the people of the dais that I thought were gonna be here, like yourself or Ty. You missed the Ty part. It wasn't that funny. It was just a real incident that happened.
Oh.
Okay? but I was hoping to hear your comment about it, but that'll work out, that's fine. We're used to it, Mike. So anyway, it turns out that
We're
these-
used to not hearing Mike's.
No,
We
we're
are
used to
not
it.
used to that.
So what happens is that, you go to these poker games, and these are great, okay? They actually have a game named after me, all right? And it's pure poker. It's just 5 stud, no wild cards. I love it, okay? And here come these other players, okay? These MBAs and all this other good stuff come from very expensive schools, and they want to make aces, deuces, 10s and 4s wild. Everybody's fighting at the end on who has 6 aces or a royal flush with a pair of aces. I mean, it is just crazy, and I'm just saying to myself, we can eliminate that by not having wild cards. Well, the thing that I remember also about the poker games is Mike. Mike has a very quick, witty tongue. And there's always a person that is on the recipient end of that wit. Where'd he go? Did he know that he's gonna bring up? Okay. Well, that's too bad. Now he's in there.
Brian yelling to get whoever.
No, I don't. I just really want to make a comment. What do you have to say about Mike? All right? I mean, here I am. I'm going to be mentioning some things that people haven't heard of that much.
Right, no,
All right?
no, we don't.
Things that people are not used to hearing. Well, I'm going to tell you something that's going to hurt Mike's feelings.
Oh,
Oh,
Stand by.
no.
All right? You ready for this?
Be the first time.
I could not come up with something that I felt comfortable with saying except for one thing, and that's just between Mike and myself. That's it, okay? I'm not gonna bring that up. But I will bring up what I found out about Mike. You ready for this, Mike? Mike's really a nice guy. He really is. What? Yes. Yes.
Take
Duffy?
that, Mike.
Mike.
Duffy?
He is very sincere, okay? He's very, very objective when it comes to showing his tender side, okay? He's just an all-around good guy. And that's why I'm saying this is because nobody else has the cojones to say it. And Mike, I just want you to know that I've appreciated your friendship all these years, and my wife has too, okay? Because you are a good guy. I know you put on a big front, sensitive people and what have. This is my psych, behavioral psychology 101. But it turns out that people put up a shield because they are sensitive and they have a witty tongue, okay? And they're very good. And they're also part of a cult. Rodney Dangerfield, okay, is one of their favorites. And Mike, he worships Caddyshack. I mean, that is his all-time favorite movie. So I've got nothing bad to say about Mike, which really should surprise all of you, but not to me. All right? Mike is a nice guy. He's very considerate.
Wow.
He's just covering up his sensitivity.
Who knew?
And I wish that Jennifer would have been here to hear that. But
She doesn't.
Because she's never seen it.
no, she would agree with me, and that's what I was hoping to hear, but I guess I
Big
won't.
softy.
And I know that one of the
Boy, this
targets.
roast took a left turn.
It's sad. It's really sad. So, okay.
See what happens when you're
Are we
cooped up in
running
a
out
car
of
for
film?
11 hours by yourself.
Okay. Well, thanks for that comment, Tom, because you're next. Okay, TD. I wanted to let Tom Dalba know that I appreciate knowing about Gilligan's Island for the 18th time, the Three Stooges, and Star Trek Next Generation, all right? And I've heard about this for years, and I try to be patient, and I just finally wanted to end my relationship with his most favorite shows, all right? In 1964, there were only 3 seasons of Gilligan's Island, okay? Yes, there were 98 actual episodes during those 3 seasons,
Wow.
okay? And people like Bob Denver, now my generation, it was Dobie Gillis is where Bob Denver showed up, but anyway. Jim Backus, Mr. Magoo, Oh my goodness, Alan Hale, Dawn Wells. Nice lady, good looking, huh? How about Tina Louise? Is that why you watch the show? Good. She looked really nice in those bikinis back then.
More Don Wells.
Yeah, oh, really? Okay, I was always curious which way that would go. Okay, but then his other favorite show, I'm not gonna bring up the Stooges, okay? I can't handle it. I'm an old Marx Brothers, okay? It turns out Star Trek Next Generation, I wanted to inform Dalba that the minnow that sailed out for that 3-hour excursion never left Universal Studios, okay? The minnow was still there.
I still thought I was on an island.
And it's a hologram, like in Next Generation time. So it's over. It's over. I don't have to hear about it anymore. Is that all right?
Yeah, I don't even remember bringing it up.
It left quite an impression, though.
Yeah, I tell you, I was patient with that. I mean, I was siding with Duffy on why is it that Tom does not like Caddyshack. You know, there was some funny parts. Okay, let's pick up the pace a little bit and let's talk about Mr. Jester.
Oh.
what?
When I took over this department that Paul was in, it was about a week that things took place in there. I don't know if they worked together or what, as far as the timing. And it was the same routine. Hey, do you have a minute? I need to talk to you. I thought, oh, sure. If I didn't, I'd make time. Come on in. We'd sit and talk, and I'd hear about some of the horror stories that went on, okay, with them and their experiences with HP, and I could really appreciate it because, you know, things do happen, okay? And it turns out that Paul was telling me about an experience he had at training some neophytes up in Boise.
Ooh.
Oh.
Hey Jim, I gotta interrupt you a second. I gotta take a leak.
He's gonna watch another episode of Gilligan's Island, I know it. No, it turns out, Paul was mentioning something about he and another person were up there to hold a seminar up in Boise for all the neophytes. The neophytes are the new engineers in the sales offices throughout HP. And it was interesting that Paul reminded me that San Diego Division always won the contest of the best division doing the presentation, okay? And this is why it disturbed him so much that he and one other person went up there. And without a senior person who knew how to manage and set everything up and control the actual seminar and what have you. And it was very devastating for Paul. And I felt really bad because I didn't feel that was their fault, okay? Somebody in charge of setting that up or whatever should have been there to make sure that didn't happen, okay? And if they were worried about not being in first place, that wasn't your fault, Paul, okay? But on top of it,
You can rest easy.
He's been devastated all these years.
on top of it, they lost his friggin' luggage. So here he is trying to do the seminar, okay? He's trying to make things happen. And I can't remember, I think I do, but I didn't want to mention the wrong name on who was with you on that presentation. But it turns out it was really an unfortunate can't even say it, situation.
Thanks very much, Jim.
I'm sitting somewhere here.
Hand it out, Joe.
Yeah. You know, I don't get a chance like this very often.
That's obvious.
You know what's so funny? I mentioned something unusual to Bill earlier tonight, just between the two of us. He said, "Oh, bring that up on me." Not. Not. Okay, so here we go. I just felt bad. Can you imagine being stuck in a situation where, you know, you had no control over any of it and everything went against you, and then on top of it, you were going to get burned during your HP career was what he was afraid of. And what I didn't tell him that even the chief inspector, well, not really screwed up. Cato did. He forgot to pack my toothbrush. One of the 3 trips that I made up there. So I'll admit to that just for you, Paul. All right?
Thank you,
Now,
Jim.
was that clean enough? I mean, that's
That
not
was-
anything.
That was sweet.
Okay? Can you rest assured now that you don't have to worry
Can you
about
live in
that
peace
anymore?
I can die a happy man.
There you go. All right. For the final talk, I want to talk about.
Oh!
It's about time. You know, you called it. You said it's like a Dean Martin roast. You just forgot to roast the other people. So anyway, and I kept it clean. There's some good stuff that I have that I wanted to share.
We'll talk later.
How much money do you have? Anyway, it turns out that I'm in my office one day, and all of a sudden, Mick O'Rourke. Everybody know Mick?
Yeah.
Anybody want to know Mick? It turns out he comes running in my office and he goes, "You won't believe what had just happened." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I just interviewed one of the neophytes here, one of those MBAs. We got a lot of MBAs here." I said, "Oh, really? What happened?" And he goes, "This one graduated from Stanford and he speaks Russian." And I thought, "Mick, do you think he's a KGB agent?" Mick looks at me, and Mick did not get my humor, okay, at all. And I'm sure that some people here also do.
It's hard to imagine.
Yeah. That's a stretch, Jim.
I know, I'm trying. But anyway, it turned out it was my first time that I figured out who Wade Mears really was. Now, I didn't know if Foster was going to be here. I had something on him that I figured, no, that's a bridge too far. And a few other people. But what I want to talk about is why I enjoyed working with Wade. Okay? First of all,
So you're the one, huh?
there's
You're the 2%.
I take total responsibility for this. I gave up somebody in my department to get Wade, and I just had a feeling that he was really an HP person. Okay, I could tell by who he hung around with, what he was doing. I very seldom ever interacted, but I liked what I saw, and so when the opportunity came up, the old HP in me came out, and I would sacrifice somebody to save somebody to get another person, and maybe things will work out great. I'm willing to do that, okay, to the utmost, and that's how I felt about getting Wade at the time. All right, I would sacrifice something to get something because I felt really good. That was the old HP. We called that the old HP way. That was destroyed, and I was in tears about that. But those of us that came around way back when, that was like a badge of honor to hire people who emanate whatever, but it's always the HP way. And it's like family and friends and trust and support and honesty, all the good things that the HP, and the fun that we had. We had a lot of fun, marketing, picnics, everything. And everybody was invited, and it was just a great time. But then with Wade came
It all stopped.
all the stats started coming out. He asked me to play golf with him one time. Okay? And I did. And I'm looking at a scorecard at the end, and I'm seeing all these strange things. I mean, there are marks everywhere. I mean, it's just not numbers like you see here, okay? There's a hole here with a mark there and a circle there and a little line there and all these crazy things. I said, "What in the hell is this?" He said, "Well, on that hole, I was near a sprinkler head, and therefore I could have taken a drop, but my stance was not interrupted, and I had a good lie, so I decided to play the ball." And I said, "Oh, really? It's that important?" He said, "Oh, yeah, I keep all this stuff." I thought, "Oh, good for you." So then I see this other one. I said, "Well, what is this?" And he said, "Oh, I was off the green." I said, "How far off?" He said, "Oh, a couple inches," and I decided to putt rather than chip. And I said, "And what happened?" When he said, "I got a 1 putt," I said, "No, you didn't drain that putt." He said, "Technically, Jim, That was not a putt. I was off the green on the fringe, therefore it's not a putt, and therefore the putt after I missed that putt was the one putt. And that's
Okay.
Is that right?
All right.
You can-
Potato, potato.
You speak the truth.
I tried to, but, and that was good because his stats look much better that way. But you're one putting all these quick, and I kept thinking, I wonder if he's chipping the ball up there on purpose. So he has all these one putts, and I thought, nah, that's not fair. Another person I was hoping was there would be Ray Moore.
No, Jim, no.
No,
No, I can't
move
bring up.
it, move along, we gotta move along.
Okay.
We gotta reset the calendar.
All right. See what happens when you don't invite me to these? I'm making up for lost time.
Nobody knows very much.
Oh, really? Wade does. And it's his roast.
some
Do
of
you
us
want to
do.
know?
You can tell them after.
Okay. We're going to skip that part. And I'm going to talk about 2 phone calls I had with Wade. All right? There was one phone call I got in May of 1990. No, 89. I'm sorry. No, 1989 was this one phone call. He said, "Hey Jim, you want to play golf?"
Oh.
2-minute warning. You speak Italian?
I forgot about that story. That's a good one.
Yeah. So what wound up happening is that he was setting up a golf game at these really nice courses in Palm Springs. And he called me up and asked me if I wanted to play in early June. I said, well, why do you want to go to Palm Springs? Oh, they've got these executive courses and Pete Dye course and PGA West and the 40-foot bunker and all that. And I said, wow, that sounds interesting. What's the weather going to be? All the snowbirds are leaving. It's really cheap. We can have a great time. Who's invited? Duffy, Higley, and you. I said, hey, I'll be there. So we went out and had a great time. Well, you know, with all the stats that he puts on there, it was terrifying to me that I would be part of his mass storage of data on people. Jeffrey Epstein died for a lot less than that. So it turns out that I said to Wade, I said, well, at least I haven't seen anything on what happened to me at PGA West. And Wade said, you forget, I was taking photographs. And I was in the 40-foot bunker, and I have to admit, that was a prized possession.
That was a good shot.
I know it.
Yeah.
He took that picture of me down, and I looked up, and it was like, I'm looking up at the top of the green area, and it was like being that tree right there. Unbelievable. Great course, beautiful course. So now here comes the real story.
Oh my God.
The following year, he calls me up right about the same time, and he goes, hey Jim, setting up another annual tournament down in Palm Springs. And I said, oh really, what's going on? He said, well, we'll see who can show up and who can't, but he said, I wanted to give you the opportunity to put it on your calendar. And I said, well, what day were you thinking of, Wade? And I sat there for a second. He said, oh, it's going to be June 24th, something like that. And I said, really? Let me check my calendar. Well, I already knew the answer, okay? But Warren Woodburn came to me. And when Warren was asked a technical question from the field and he had the answer just like that, he'd take out his shoe shine kit and he'd start polishing his shoes. He said, I'm still checking. I'm still checking. Ron was a character, okay? And after he finished and answered the question for the guy, I said, Ron, you had the answer. Why didn't you do it? Just get it over with. He said, no. You got to milk it, make it feel like it's really important. You got to do this. I said, Ron, you know, you're right. You're right. That field person now is going to tell everybody about how great you were, and that was wonderful. But anyway, here I was thinking about what was going to happen June 24th. And I already had the answer, like I said. And after about 15 seconds, I said, oh, Wade. I said, I checked my calendar. I'm tied up on that day. I said, I'm really sorry, but I can't make it. He goes, oh, that's too bad. You know how he goes, oh, that's too bad. Well, maybe next year. Maybe next year we'll do it, okay? I said, sure, that sounds good. So about a couple weeks later, after June 24th, he called me up and he said, "Hey Jim, what's going on?" I said, "I don't know." "Well, what did you have that was so important that you refused to go play golf with us?" And I said, "Well, I got married. Is that all right?" Wade, I'm telling you, if I could have had a picture of him, he just thought that was the greatest thing. He was set up and he knew it. I was really proud of that moment. But after being ridiculed like Tom about any data that you might throw about a sporting event, okay? Because I made the mistake, I called Wade up and I said, "Hey Wade, I just saw a film on an old pro from the 30s, and I said, God, it was amazing." Well, he didn't let me finish. I thought, how can you play golf when it's 90 degrees, 95% humidity, and you're playing 4 days in a row and on and on? And he interrupts me. He goes, "Oh, I think I know who you're talking about." I said, "Well, I'm trying to think of the guy's last name, and I think it's something like Sakaris or Sakari." He goes, no, that's Babe. She's one of the greatest athletes. She's great in tennis and great in golf. No, you're thinking of Jean Saracen. Yeah? Isn't that great? Great timing. So,
2-minute warning. You gotta wrap it up.
yeah. So what wound up happening is that I just took it in here. Man, he started in on me. He's bringing up these facts. He goes, "Oh, that was 1935. It was the second Masters. Oh, he didn't make the first one. He had a scheduling problem." And
He was getting married.
he managed to hit the shot that was heard around the world. And I said, "Wait a minute, Wade. Bobby Thompson, 1951. That baseball game against the Trolley Dodgers. That was the game." What Bobby Thompson did was great. He broke, hit the home run, won the pennant for him, walk-off home run. That was nice. But can you imagine 232 yards out with a spoon, nonetheless? And I said, "What in the hell's a spoon?" He said, "Well, it's comparable to a 4-wood, okay?" And he hit this thing 232 yards in a 4.5-inch cup. He tied, he was 3 behind, now he tied the score and won the playoff afterwards. Is that right? Did I have
Close enough.
Holy the amount of research I did. Well, I came up with one that I really think you're gonna lose on this one. And I'm at the 2-minute part.
You're way past 2 minutes. I'm serious. We're serious.
So it wound up happening.
Kid's got a plane to catch in the morning.
So it turns out that I said, "Oh, okay, I got to come up with something that Wade cannot answer as far as the sporting event." So I came up with one, and here it is. Back in 1939. Okay?
I'm with you so far.
It was a brewery league of women that were playing semi-pro ball. Okay? And this was in Cincinnati, Ohio. And these women were good. These women were really good. Not that I saw them in person. But
it's been rumored.
That was even before your time.
It was, I have to admit. So it turns out that this woman not only helped win the championship game, only at 18 years old, okay, and was the catcher for the team. And I don't think that Wade has any idea. I hope he can answer
Would this perhaps have been your mother? He set me up.
With his mother?
His mother was a great softball player.
Wow.
Baseball, sorry.
Uh-huh.
My bad.
No, I'm done.
Do I get a rebuttal?
He didn't leave anybody out. How long were you preparing for that? Did you in high school?
Long drive to Boise.
Yeah, actually, after I had food poisoning, that was what I did when I didn't sleep.
Okay, Bill wants to come up and do another minute and a half, that's all.
Come on, Bill. Do I get a rebuttal, by the way?
Yeah. We'll get to that.
I had a lot of stuff, but we don't have time. for the stuff, so I'm just got a couple little gifts. One is a beer mug. It's unique in that it says, "Old Lives Matter." And you can use it for your Metamucil in the morning, and then in a couple of years your teeth can go in there. You want it there, or you want to put it? Okay, that's that. And the other thing is, and I'm a few years ahead of you, so this is the Can't Remember Shit daytime. So don't forget to do appointments. Anyway, people to anyway, this is and the thing we didn't have time for was the OK Boomer collection of remixed songs. And I'll just give you a couple. There's 32 on here. I'll just give you just a couple, if that's okay, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My back's killing me.
Let's see, I want to take this one. Smells Like Ben Gay by Nirvana. Let's see. I've Got That Painful Feeling by Righteous Brothers. Let's see. Little Old Geezer from San Diego, the Beach Boys. Hey You, Off of My Lawn. And Jimmy Buffett's got two on here. Gluten-free, low-carb veggie burger in paradise. And Metamucilville. There's 30 so other ones, so I'll give you that tape and you can turn it back to you, Mr.
Tom's still got an 8-track player.
Thank you, there's an 8-track too.
That's what I use. Anybody else besides Paul? My Paul's gonna get up and hopefully take less time than Jim.
Okay, yeah, I got a quick thing I'm just going to read here. It's a little poem for Wade. Let me just see how many people are left.
Oh, they're just in the
People
kitchen.
sleeping in the
They're
back.
asleep.
Okay. In a realm of tech and marketing lore, stood a bloke named Wade, ready to explore. From Hewlett-Packard, he retired, so grand. After 38 years, he made his last stand. Wade, oh Wade, a legend with a twist. His humor sharp, his sarcasm not missed. 3 daughters he raised, Jessica, Julia, Lisa, surviving their antics, a true family diva. Golf and pickleball games he'd pursue, Wordle puzzles he'd conquer with a clue. But beware his sports trivia so obscure, a fountain of uselessness, almost impure. The Padres, his passion, his baseball obsession, followed every game with zealous aggression, from Beatles to ABBA, his music taste wild, belting out lyrics, feeling forever beguiled. MIT and Stanford, his alma maters bold, Russian studies at MIT, oh behold. An MBA from Stanford, a masterful feat, brains and ambition, a force hard to beat. Seinfeld and Ted Lasso, his TV delights, tickling his funny bone on wild nights, yet vegan he claimed with a diet so pure, but those sneaky cheat days we all know for sure. Collectibles he cherished, his obsession unbound, sports memorabilia and pop culture abound around. In his kitchen they linger, those tin lunch boxes, an oddity display arousing eyebrow raises. So here's to Wade, the edgy retiree, a friend with a bite, humor twisted and free, with a glass raised high. We toast to his quest to a future of laughter where he'll always be blessed. That was written in its entirety by ChatGPT.
I was going to say that.
Not a single edit.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow, that's impressive.
Oh, and I've got like 3 others.
You were
in
reading
there
it, and I'm
already.
like, this is chat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, I could have done that.
Yeah, but what did you put into ChatGPT?
Right.
Yeah.
Wait,
You
mirrors.
have no privacy.
Said that way
yours?
That's great.
Artificial intelligence did my stuff too. Is he ready? Okay, what happened to my notes? Okay, we now come on.
Jim has it.
Somebody
Oh, did I grab him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I need to take something off the days.
Unless you want artificial intelligence to do it.
Come on.
No, that's not it. No, wait.
Did
No,
Bill
that's
take
not
it?
That's not it. These are all my notes.
Okay, well,
Those are all mine.
I'm just gonna have to go from memory.
It-
Anyway,
It's made up anyways, Tom, so just, let it rip.
next we have a little surprise from you,
Oh,
or
good.
for you, either way. We have a visitor from the Karnak region of Egypt. We flew in to San Diego. It's about an 18-hour trip, by the way, just for Wade's retirement party. I don't see him.
Oh, my
I
God.
introduce,
Oh my God.
fresh from Egypt, just flew in, the great Karnak. Oh, no, you didn't. Who's stealing our stuff?
Blame it on Jim.
Fresh from Funkin' Wagonals.
In each of these envelopes is a question. The great Karnak will divine the answer without looking. And each one of these, as he said, each one of these envelopes, nobody has seen them, you haven't seen them, I haven't seen them, he hasn't seen them. But he will hold this envelope up to his head and guess the answer.
Sounds like
Funkin' Wagonals. Gluten-free, sugar-free, and meat-free.
Very realistic.
Welcome to your senior years, Wade. An estimate. An estimate.
An estimate.
It's an echo.
No, he's Ed.
He's got the Ed McMahon part down.
Yeah.
What does the doctor give Wade after his last physical? Go ahead. Stormy weather. Stormy weather.
Daniels? No, weather.
Karnak having problems. What song will you'll never hear at a Trump rally?
You're on the right track.
May your next colonoscopy done with a garden hose and a flashlight.
Karnak should have used longer envelopes.
Ben Gay, Dr. Scholl, and Jack Daniels.
Ben Gay, Dr. Scholl,
Saturday night.
Jack
Okay.
Daniels.
That's what I said. Name the 4 most important men in Wade's life. Blowhard. Blowhard.
Mm. Hard.
Blow hard. I can't blow hard enough. What does the cop say at Wade's field sobriety test? A little hard.
Whatever. Got it.
Walk-in tubs, power recliner,
Short-term
toilet
memory is the
bowl
first thing
safety handles, and adult diapers. Karnak not getting good reception here. Name 4 things you used to laugh at on TV commercials, Wade.
Karnak shouldn't put so many items on
Thank you, Ed. A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yes. What were the previous failed versions of Preparation H?
Funkin' Waggles.
Cheetah, Muhammad Ali, and the My Pillow guy.
Ooh.
Name a chimp, a champ, and a chump.
Thank you, Johnny.
Tom Brady, Fernando Tatis,
Tatis.
Tatis, and Wade Mears. Tom Brady, Fernando Tatis?
Tatis.
Tatis?
Please.
I know it.
What are those names again?
Name 2 rich, super athletic guys and someone else.
Karnak from Egypt, not know much about American baseball.
Be Rudy Giuliani, take a shine to your daughter. Kevin McCarthy and Charlie McCarthy. Well. Name a dummy and a ventriloquist stage prop. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road. Did you hear that, Wade?
I did.
How does Wade find his way to his urologist's office for his appointment? No runs, no drips, no errors. No hair, no teeth, no memory. Welcome to the future, Wade.
I hold in my hand the final envelope.
1,000 camels infect your robes. Fleas from 1,000 calories. That's how that joke is supposed to be.
Right.
Karnak did not have time to rehearse on his 18-hour flight.
Drooling, spitting, leaking, and degassing.
Ooh. That's a lot of words.
Has nothing to do with your cooking.
Karnak getting mixed signals here. Probably long flight, bad reception. It's either HP inkjet cartridge pen quality problems or Rudy Giuliani.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Karnak. And his even better outfit.
One more.
Now it's time for the person who sat here and took all this crap for 2.5 hours. For him to get up here and tell us what he thinks of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Wade Mears.
Wow. Well, when I came tonight, I was thinking one of the kind of unheralded benefits of retiring so far after we all started and kind of the heyday was that people will not remember a lot of the embarrassing stories, which is largely true. I got off pretty easy tonight. First of all, really, Paul and Janet, thank you very much for having us. Everybody, thanks for coming. It's really nice. I know one of the things that they told us as part of the retirement preparation, or how to handle retirement, as I said, do some kind of a celebration, either right away or a little bit, sometime reasonably soon, just to kind of mark it and make it a special occasion, because it is obviously it's a big milestone. Personally, I realized probably a couple of years ago there was a point where I realized, you know what, I'm probably on the last lap. I was in a meeting, and it's been the last few years that I realized, you know what, everybody on this meeting is younger than I am. That was kind of a weird feeling. But we were talking about setting up the printers and how it's still, a pain in the neck. A lot of customers have trouble. They call in, they have trouble with it. They, trash us in the reviews because of that.
Because of Duffy. Yeah.
Blaming Duffy is always a winning strategy.
And I made a comment. We had maybe 5 or 6 people on the meeting, and I made a comment that, well, it's bad, but at least we don't have, we're not living in an environment where we have half the households in America flashing 1200. Remember the old VCRs, and people couldn't program it? No, it wasn't connected. And it was quiet. and one guy said, I don't understand the reference. Explain, and that's sort of when I realized that, oh man, these people probably never even used a VCR, much less understand the whole reference. So that started me thinking. And I can't remember who mentioned it. It might have been Paul at the beginning, who said, really, it is a unique environment that we all worked together for a while. We've kept in touch. Many of us do activities and go to events with the HP Alumni Club. I mean, the fact that there is an alumni club of the company we used to work for is kind of remarkable. And it's great. And I usually deal with things with humor, and I have to say that it's nice. I really cherish my friendships with each and every one of you. I can't remember who mentioned it. Somebody said at the beginning, like I said, I think it was you, lauding the quality of HP people. And certainly as I look around the room, or look around here, I mean, everybody really is, was excellent, right? I mean, we were lucky to work with a lot of great people. But not everybody has that same opinion of HP people being, top notch. And some of you might have worked in Building 8 on the HP campus. And actually, I'm sorry, Building 61. No, 61. What building? 65. Right there we go. We have so many buildings, it's hard to keep them straight. 65.
Building 8 is where Jeff Robbins. That would get.
It's largely. Imagine a Costco with a bunch of cubicles in it. There are no amenities. There's no carpet. It's cement floor. But you would think that at least the infrastructure would work. But there was one bathroom that it must have been haunted, because once a week without fail, it was closed. It would say closed because of repair. It was, it happened so often, it was like for a year or two. It wasn't a couple times. It was almost a weekly thing. And I think one time I went in there, and I figured they must have finally figured out what the culprit was, because there was a wall with 3 urinals, and the middle one, they must have figured, okay, that's the offending culprit. And they had, after a year, decided, hey, we can't fix it, so we're just going to replace it. But the new one hadn't come in yet, so they had removed the old one. So there's, in the row of 3 urinals, there's a giant gaping hole in the middle where they took the second one out.
Did that work for you?
So they had, caution tape, Xing it out. And I walked in and I saw there was something small above the hole, and it's like a 3 or 4 foot diameter hole. And there's something above it, and I walked closer to see what it was, and it was a Post-it note. And so somewhere there's maintenance people walking around HP, and they evidently, and on the Post-it note it said, "Out of order, do not use." And I thought, okay, what were these guys thinking? They remove the urinal, there's a 4-foot hole. They've got the caution tape.
They're thinking Wade Mears.
One of them must have thought, you know, I'm not entirely confident that the men, now the women are above reproach, this is the men's bathroom, but I'm not entirely confident the men are going to understand how to react to this, you know, sudden turn of events. So we better add that extra margin of safety by saying out of order. But that wasn't enough. It's out of order, and they thought, you know what, we better add do not use. So they're thinking, right? We always have to put ourselves in the minds of customers and say, what's the process? So there they were going to walk in and say, there's a 4-foot diameter gaping hole in the wall. I'm not really sure what my next course of action is. They said, oh, it's out of order. And do not use. Oh, now I see. Out of order and do not use. So, you know, we always say, oh, the people at HP are so great, very high quality, but just always think, you know, don't get too big of a head, because there's a maintenance person out there walking around who's thinking, you know, I got to put that Post-it so that men know what to do.
You know, I remember that building. I remember that thing, and I walk into a bathroom one day, and I see the same thing you just described. And there was a guy in a blue shirt that said, "You got to pack in." No.
You know, it's great that we're all still in San Diego and, you know, can enjoy each other's company. Not everybody, but Jim comes down so often that seems like you live here.
Well, I'm done.
Anyway, you know, thank you very much for coming down. Like I said, you know, it's great to have the memories, but it's also great to have a continued relationship with so many friends, and just make our, you know, our twilight years that much more meaningful. Yeah. So, thank you.
No plug for the pickleball.
All the kidding aside, Wade, you're a good guy, a good friend, a good father.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Good
On the
job,
way over,
everyone.
we were talking about a sports piece of trivia. See if you can get it. You know,
Is that his mother?
Super Bowl I.
Oh, yeah.
What was the halftime entertainment on Super Bowl
I don't watch TV during the halftime. I thought you were going to say what was the score. I was going to say 14-10. It was a close game.
No, so
Halftime entertainment, 1966.
it was that the entertainment was named at some point during this roast tonight.
Karnak?
And
Beatles. Had to be Beatles.
No, it wasn't the Beatles.
They didn't perform after.
We mentioned Beatles and ABBA.
It wasn't ABBA. It wasn't the Beatles.
Righteous Brothers?
Are you stopped?
What?
We can give you
The Three Stooges.
No.
What?
No.
Three Stooges?
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna.
And they wonder why more women are in football.
Yeah, true. I love the Stooges for what they are.
I'm really looking forward to that, Michael.
Thank you for putting up with all that HP stuff, Joaquin.
Still got a couple of things that don't work.
You what?
I still have a couple of those pins that don't work.
Oh, man.
Hey, thanks for coming, man.
So I had like 4 different poems that GPT.
Her mother just had replacement surgery.
That's amazing.
Good job, gentlemen.
It was your wife's chance to come up with that. That was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man.
We'll catch up. I gotta go.
I'll see you around.
It's really good seeing you, bud.
So you think you're good enough to host the game?
As long as it's right
I
now-
mean, we can do everything.
Right now, standing is the bigger problem. I can sit for.
Really? Well, I mean, I'm gonna stick around.
Sorry, I see you.
Yeah, see, well, not that one, that's the next one, but two over, yeah.
One daughter in New York.
You can't stand it.
No, I just, it's a higher chair.
Yeah, kind of, right. Your kids are home, so,
Well,
right? They
we
haven't.
have one in Northern California, and then two years old, so, yeah, we're gonna be at.
Hey, guys.
So the youngest is 10. Yeah, no, when is it? Yeah, I mean, imagine a 10-year-old. Well, 2 weeks. Okay. All right.
We'll catch up there.
Yeah.